Welcome to the Office of Early Childhood's webinar, Walking the Talk, Strengthening Connections, Responding to Behaviors that Challenge Us in Unity to Achieve Success. Let us please begin by receiving instructions on how to access interpretation. Diana Reyes, passing it to you.
Buenos días a todos. Mi nombre es Diana Reyes y daré instrucciones sobre cómo acceder a los servicios de traducción para el seminario web. En la parte inferior de la pantalla, haga clic en el globo terráqueo que dice traducción y luego seleccione español o SP. A continuación, puede silenciar el idioma original. Gracias por acompañarnos.
And now passing it over to the Commissioner of the Office of Early Childhood, Commissioner Beth Bai.
Thank you, Lorna. Thank you, Diana. And thank you, Eloisa, for your help managing this webinar. We're so happy you all are with us today. Challenging behaviors. As I looked at that slide, I thought to myself, it will be really good for us to think about that in our work with young children and really in our work with our colleagues and in our homes and in our communities. How do we treat each other with respect? How do we work with people's behaviors to try to help them have a sense of belonging? That's what you're going to hear about today. And I can't believe this panel we have lined up. It's quite something. We have Julia, the Teacher of the Year for Connecticut. We have Amanda, who's been, I've known Amanda for many years as just a champion for young children and equity and supporting their social emotional development as a social worker and educator. And then Eileen Ruiz will be facilitating the conversation with these two incredible professionals. So we're going to talk about how do we as professionals collaborate to create that sense of belonging for families and children. Because when there are challenging behaviors, I talked to a mom who called into the Office of Early Childhood yesterday, whose son at 4 was told he couldn't go to the child care program he was going to. And she just needed someone to listen and think about what's the best option and how to get in touch with the public schools so that that child gets the support that they need. And so we as professionals all need to work together and collaborate to help children get to the proper setting. And then how do we make more of those settings able to accept children with challenging behaviors and even mildly or severely challenging behaviors? You know, they impact the classroom and they impact everyone around every child. So what we're trying to do today is bring a focus to these issues and provide some tools and ideas for how you can collaborate with each other to create that sense of belonging in schools, in childcare centers, and family childcare homes, in your community, and support the social and emotional health of young children in your work and even, you know, everywhere as a community we can be thinking about what are we doing to support parents, to support families as they're working to support their children. So I know you're really in for a treat today, and I can't wait to hear. I hope you all have a wonderful day and enjoy the webinar.
Thank you so very much, Commissioner Bai. We're so thankful for your support of this effort then and ongoing now. Thank you so much again. And now we have the honor of being able to hear some inspiring words from Julia Miller, who is the 2025 Connecticut Teacher of the Year. Julia is a proud New Haven Public Schools teacher, parent, and alumna for over 20 years. She is a social studies teacher committed to the practices of anti-racist education and project-based learning. As a longtime civics teacher, Julia's goal for her students is for them to become informed and active community members who feel empowered to make change. Now, Julia's schedule is very, very busy, as with all of you. In fact, so much so happening today at this time. However, she did not want to miss an opportunity to be with us and to share some encouraging words. And therefore, we have a video of Julia's message for us. Please let us receive Julia.
Good afternoon. My name is Julia Miller. I'm the 2025 Connecticut Teacher of the Year, and I'm so sorry that I can't be with you all in person today. The reason I'm not there is I'm actually, will be at this time, participating in the interviews of the semifinalists for the 2026 Teacher of the Year. And can I tell you, I know there's so much conversation about all the things that are wrong in education, but my gosh, are there a lot of things that are right. Reading through these semifinalist applications, I was just really moved. And so much of what these educators were writing about is relevant to the conversation today, really, from all grade levels, kindergarten to 12th grade. Teachers were talking about thinking about the whole child, culturally responsive teaching, the importance of building relationships, and that's what we're here to talk about today. So, I mean, to me, relationships really are at the heart of teaching and learning, right? Young people, nobody really can learn if they don't feel safe, if they don't feel a sense of trust. And so it's so important that we're talking about these practices and how to create classrooms and spaces and schools that are nurturing, growth oriented, and support our young students, of all ages, where they are coming from and how they are showing up. It's been a real honor of mine these last few years. I've helped start, co-created a restorative justice program at my school, Metropolitan Academy in New Haven. And we have 4 pathways in our school, and one of them is a law pathway. And so this is a course that we created as the capstone course for our seniors. It's called Youth Justice in Practice. And in the class, we teach our students about the theory behind restorative justice and also train them as practitioners so that they are actually working in our school to build a culture that supports students even when they make mistakes. One of the grounding frameworks that we use with our students is something referred to as the social discipline window, or sometimes called the social accountability window. And so if you can imagine a x-axis and a y-axis, and on the x-axis is support, and on the y-axis is accountability. So high accountability, low support, high support. And so if you think about the different quadrants on that on the social discipline window, in the top left-hand quadrant is high accountability but low support. And that's really a punitive model. And unfortunately, what traditionally we've seen in schools, right? That a student makes a mistake and we're holding them accountable, but we're doing it to them. It's a punishing mentality, and there's no support. And so if we are just punishing students, removing them, as in the case of suspension or something of the like, right? We're not getting to the root cause of why they made that mistake or supporting any unmet needs. If we look at the bottom left-hand quadrant, that is low accountability and low support. That would just be neglectful. We're not doing anything at all. We're ignoring the problem. On the bottom right-hand side, that is low accountability, high support, something that would be more permissive. We're doing it for the student, for the person who's made the mistake. And so they are not learning from the mistake and working to grow and improve from the situation. And so what we share with our students is that we want to really live in that top right-hand quadrant, which is high accountability and high support. And the key word with that quadrant is with. We are doing this with our students. And so I think that's a framework that can help us in thinking about this work. Again, I'm teaching at the higher end of the spectrum. These are 12th graders, and I know many folks in the room right now today, we're talking about our early childhood experiences, but there's so much connection. And I think this idea of with is kind of transcendent across all grade levels. Another project that I'm really proud of is another pathway that I've been part of here in New Haven is the education and leadership pathway. And so both at my school and in our district, I've helped to launch a Grow Your Own program so that we are hopefully inspiring and training high school students to become teachers and come back and teach in our classrooms. And I have to tell you, a highlight for my students is we do fieldwork experiences in a local K-8 school. And they love the early childhood classrooms so much. And getting to work with these amazing young learners. And it's so clear the impact that social emotional learning has in these spaces. And, so interesting. One of my students was working in a second grade class. These are 10th grade education students. And so he was working in a in a second grade class. And when we debriefed after this one particular visit, he said there was this kid who was giving the teacher a run for her money. There were a number of challenges going on. And, but he said, he really just needed to vent. And I was like, oh yeah? So what did you do? And he said, I listened. Yeah, he told me about his cousin and another kid who was annoying him and this and that. And he just wanted to let things out. And I will say, this young second grader was drawn to my student who looked a lot like him. And so I think, again, having representation in the classroom is so important. Building those relationships with our kids, listening to them, doing the work with them is what we're looking for. So I can't wait to hear the debrief of all of the amazing things that I'm sure are going to be discussed today. Thank you for letting me into this space with you. I would love to think and talk about ways that we all can partner moving forward on behalf of our kids. Thanks.
Julia, thank you. Thank you so much for your encouraging words. Thank you for walking the talk. And we certainly see why you are our Connecticut Teacher of the Year. And thank you for continuing to share your message. And speaking of messages, we will continue to hear wonderful, empowering messages as we shall now receive Amanda Pickett. Amanda Pickett is a consultant at the State Department of Education, where she really helps to look at focusing on school climate and culture and promoting a sense of belonging. But this is not just a title that Amanda has. This is one that she practices and she walks. She is very much engaged in civic engagement. She serves on the Board of Education in her town. And she is one who believes in this, walks this, talks this, and encourages others to do the same. So it is our pleasure and honor now to receive empowering words from Amanda Pickett.
Thank you so much. I am so honored to be here. I thank you so much to my partners at the Office of Early Childhood to be invited in this collaborative space. It's really hard to follow such people that I'm personally inspired by, Commissioner Beth Bai, inspiring educators like Julia, and those who will close the session. But I'm going to do my best. I have to acknowledge who I am fully in this space. So Lorna, thank you for your introduction. But I come as a consultant from the Connecticut State Department of Ed. I support school climate efforts. I'm also a proud descendant of who I call the original Amanda, pictured up there, with my mom, Glenda. I'm a wife and mother of two amazing kiddos. I'm a social worker by training, a proud graduate of UConn. And yes, I'm a community advocate. I believe firmly in the importance of connection, community, and continuous reflection. I'm so excited to be in this shared space with you. So before I get into some of my talking points and agenda of our time, I have to be myself and engage in some of this community building with you all. So in the interest of this very interesting virtual webinar space, how can we co-create a space that fosters engagement, collaboration, validation, and opportunities to share resources and best practices? It's critical that we have norms for how we show up. If we'd have time and if the ability, we would co-create these together. I've been grounding a lot of the work that I've been doing with schools and districts in Connecticut around the work they're doing in Portrait of a Graduate or Vision of a Learner work. I encourage you to reflect on the norms that you have in your settings and how we model and demonstrate them explicitly for those around us, our colleagues, our students, our families, and our community. For our time together, I've drafted these. Please feel free to reflect on the questions that I've listed here. What expectations do you have? What would you need to make this a productive use of your time? Please feel free to do those things. I also want to take the time to say that I'm a connector, so please feel free to reach out. I would love to connect with all of you. How I wish we were in different space, but I love technology and the fact that we can do this where so many people can hear our message. But I would love to pause to hear from you. Unfortunately, I can't in this setting, but I'm going to give you a quick demo of the community building pieces of the restorative efforts that Julia mentioned in her comments. Restorative practices might have legislation and fancy definitions, but for me and in my training, it's a way of being. It's a way of building community and repairing it when it's harmed. So I'm going to do this a disservice, but in the essence of time and in this format of a webinar, I'd like for you to take out your notepad. Answer the prompt that's listed here. If you could, would you rather go back in time and visit an ancestor or jump ahead and visit a descendant? I will share with you my answer would be descendant because of those two amazing little faces you saw on the previous slides. Well, folks, while you're thinking about that, I'm going to share that in my training by the International Institute on Restorative Practices, having intentionality to any practice that you're using is what's important. If we were in person, we would gather together. I'd have a special participation piece. It's actually me and the original Amanda again. Notice the language that I use there, participation piece, not talk piece, trying to be more inclusive. Restorative practice is heavy on oral language and auditory processing. We'd also review those norms that we built together. I chose this prompt purposefully, and I encourage you to take it back. As a parent, I'm constantly struggling with honoring my family's ancestral roots, that original Amanda, those values, those customs and routines, and adapting it to the reality of the future. And then in some circumstances, we know better, so I have the duty to do better. I also want to acknowledge that I'm using a prompt as an entry-level community building prompt. However, this prompt can elicit many personal feelings and experiences. I want to acknowledge that and ensure that you select and whatever check-in questions that you do with staff, students, or families, be aware that even sometimes when something seems light or easy, can really be loaded for some. So this time is going to be quick. I'm happy to follow up with any of you, but in the next 15 minutes or so, I hope to review some foundational information about school climate, the framework, some best practices, and co-creating a community with those around us. I also have to acknowledge the current reality of many educational settings, and actually as a mom too at home. Not one more thing. You are already doing a lot to support students, families, and those around you. Take a deep breath and acknowledge that. Today, I want to stress intentionality in our practice. I also think that it's critical that we pause to frame our conversation, that this is about adult systems, structures, policies, and practices. We cannot change or control many of our students' life circumstances. However, we can change and refine our structures of support. We need to spend the time to reflect on our adult behavior and practices, what we do to set students up for success, and how we respond when things aren't going well. So much of behavior response is rooted in our own experiences and beliefs. We need to ensure that we are reflecting on our actions and always remembering the power of relationships. Behavior interventions are actually changes in staff procedures and practices. So when we talk about school climate, I think it's important that we have some shared language. School culture refers to the ways schools work together with staff, students, and families to formulate a set of beliefs, values, and assumptions that they share. It's a way things are done in the school, the personality of the school, those underlying norms and values that shape patterns of behaviors, attitudes, and expectations about how people interact with each other, students, staff, and administrators. A school's culture is always at work, either helping or hindering learning. It influences every decision and action in a school, from the leadership style of the principal to the way teachers choose curriculum materials and interact with students. So I'd ask you to pause for a moment and reflect on your own personal culture. What do you bring when you step into a classroom? What norms, values, beliefs drive you individually? And then also think about, what are the values, traditions, and rituals of your school or your community setting or your whatever setting you're in? Who has been instrumental in creating, shaping, and continuing those rituals or routines? How have you adapted those over time? Connecticut has defined school climate in legislation, which is noted here. School climate is personal. It's individually experienced and is shaped by multiple identity factors and lived experiences. It's critical that we acknowledge that individual, unique experience of our students and work intentionally to co-create affirming, accessible, and inclusive spaces. Numerous studies have confirmed that positive school climate provides many benefits for students and for staff. Students who feel close to their teachers have been shown to work harder, attend more regularly, and have more confidence in their academic abilities. I think it's important to note that climate isn't just one thing. It's a really hard concept to talk about. I also think that it's important that we talk about taking a systemic approach. It's not just about legislative compliance or a checklist to get accreditation. It's really about how you do the work, how you make decisions, what committees you have, who serves on them, how they're facilitated, the policies that you pass and the procedures you internally follow. Personally, I'll give a shout out to Head Start. I think they do a great job of an inclusive process to policy creating. The data you collect, you analyze and use to inform your work. And the strategies you implement to impact change. Are they intentional, defined strategies for supporting both your staff and your students? Being able to understand what you do proactively to support a positive climate supports how you then respond when you encounter challenges with students or with families or with staff. Depicted here is our MTSS multi-tiered system of support triangle, those layers of support. And then the next to that are the 3 domains of school climate: environment, belonging and engagement, and safety and wellness. Schools, centers, providers, you're doing a lot. Being able to focus on what you're doing universally to support relationships and community and those positive behavior skills will then help you think about how you build a framework of layers of support. It's also important that when we outline our strategies around these areas, we need to reflect on how we're being intentional about alignment and integration, that coherence. We also must reflect on how we're ensuring that what we're implementing are equitable, inclusive, and affirm our students and staff experiences. One way to do this is to ensure that there are meaningful ways for your staff, your students, yes, even these preschoolers, and families to be part of decision-making teams. Another way is to be intentional about how we proactively are teaching social skills to our kiddos with our families. How are we sharing common language, common expectations? Where are there opportunities to embed in our curriculum and instructional practice health and wellness, digital citizenship, yes, preschool, emotional regulation, problem solving, and so many other skills? What I've been doing to help schools and districts work more intentionally on their universal efforts is encouraging folks to do an inventory of all they're implementing. The National Implementation Research Network out of the University of North Carolina has this awesome tool, the Initiative Inventory. It is critical that you acknowledge the efforts you are engaging in. There's many. Once you do this, you will see how you can be more intentional or aligned, or even maybe what isn't worth your effort. I recently met with a school administrator who said to me, Amanda, we're doing a list of things a mile long, but not even an inch thick. We're not scratching the surface on fidelity of implementation. Are people really doing what we're asking them to do? We're not tracking outcomes across the school for tier 1 impact. So we need to take the moment to slow down, to honor what we're doing, and revise from there. I also need to take a quick moment to plug all the amazing things that the Office of Early Childhood is doing to support comprehensive supports around access, inclusion, and affirming spaces. So many. I'm sure your sites are engaging in many of these efforts. These directly connect to this work, aligning, integrating, and helping and being intentional about how we do this work is what matters. While I share some considerations or reflections that you might want to make, please take a moment to jot down in your notebook, what are the initiatives that you're doing around these areas? What school-wide practices are you engaging in to support students' experience in your buildings? I also encourage you to take this resource back with you and complete it with a team. You might want to consider some of these things. What opportunities for alignment and integration exist? How are we going to prioritize the work? What next steps will we need to do? How will you engage others with influence and others who are impacted? And then what's the role of leadership in support of this practice? What's the role of staff? What's the role of families, students, community partners in support of these practices? We also have to acknowledge the reality that there are still students who will be struggling, no matter what we do universally, intentionally to support a welcoming and inclusive environment. There will still be students with needs, and it's okay to acknowledge that. Some have medical conditions or needs supported through an individual education plan. Some have unfortunately experienced trauma or experiences beyond their control. And some are just needing some help with families that are asking and wanting support. So you need to be working on defining a system of response for when kids are struggling. How do you respond in a way that supports all impacted? The student, the staff members, the classroom, the family, and possibly your whole school community. Julia mentioned that social discipline window, doing things with a lot of love and support, but also keeping those high expectations of students. So when we think of our response systems, how do we respond with? How do we know when a kid is struggling? What types of behaviors are we noticing and documenting? How do we respond? Is behavioral data being documented and collected with fidelity across your classrooms? Are teams and staff using and accessing that data for decision making? Are the responses that you're doing aligned and build upon that tier 1 work that we just outlined? And how are you engaging families in the process and partnering with them on next steps? This effort is collective. We need to remember that it takes a community. It's not just one person's job. However, I can't stress the importance of leadership championing this work. I encourage you to consider how you're utilizing the various perspectives of those around you who are on your teams. As a wife of a husband who's a school attendance secretary, I can't tell you how powerful his perspective is on any school team. And it is more than just people that it takes to do this work. It takes training, money, curriculum, and instructional tools, IT systems, and more. Again, I want to remind you of the Office of Early Childhood efforts I highlighted a moment ago. Many of them directly support training and capacity building. So what now? In a moment, you will hear from the folks who get this best, and we'll share with you what it looks like in practice. But I do want to share some professional and then personal considerations. The first thing you can do, look at what you're doing proactively. How are you setting kiddos up for success? Download that initiative inventory and talk with your team about your universal strategies to create a welcoming, inclusive, accessible, and affirming environment. Review your behavior response protocols. What do you document? How do you use that information for support planning? How do you engage your staff and families in your process? And then lastly, align your efforts systemically through committee structures, curriculum mapping, and intentional, meaningful professional learning. I also can't help but think what it means at the school and classroom level. Again, you're going to hear from the real experts next, but I wrote this list here more as a mom and what matters to my family and me in our educational experience. You may want to pause for a moment and reflect on your role in in influencing these considerations. The first thing, show up. You did that today. There are many opportunities to be involved in community, attend events, ask families what they're up to, reach out and check in. You see pictured here our community supporting our local veterans, an important population to us. It's also important to support yourself. Engage in self-reflection, read, learn, use your power and influence to advocate for positive refinements in the spaces that you're a part of. The next is representation. Ensure that multiple perspectives are reflected in your space. More importantly, make sure that they're proportionally represented. Be intentional. It matters. In the picture, you see books that somebody gave to my children. I can't tell you the simple gesture and how much that meant to my family. There are also ways you can impact systemic features, even at the personal level. This takes changes in beliefs, policy, practices, procedures, and support structures. We must be willing to roll up our sleeves, be vulnerable, honest, and intentional in unpacking what we're doing and reimagine with a socially just and student-centered lens. Some of what I noted here are around educational impacts, making this list, thinking of as a mom with my kids in public school. Things like a representative and inclusive curriculum, data teams that disaggregate data and find solutions to address concerns. Pictured here, you see our suspension data disaggregated by race, which is available on EdSite. Removal of bias and how we do things like hiring, discipline, grading. This takes support and resources. We need to demonstrate commitment to that, supporting training, coaching, professional learning, and time for people to do the work. This is just my list. It's not comprehensive. It isn't representative of Connecticut children and families, but I see opportunities and areas for us to reflect on. I'd encourage you to see what families tell you about what matters to them. Listen to the voices of wisdom that is coming your way now. Thank you so much for this opportunity, for the work that you do, and please don't hesitate to reach out.
Amanda, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for your passion. Thank you for your energy. Thank you for all that you're doing. Your words just resound so loudly, and you are certainly encouraging for us to walk, 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 but know what we're walking to and how we're talking and doing so. Thank you so very much, Amanda. You see the emotional emoji reactions to your wonderful message. Thank you. And let us continue on in receiving wonderful words of insight. And I first now will pass the microphone over to wonderful teammate Karen Pascal, who is the Connecticut Head Start Collaboration Office Director, who will take us to our next step. Karen, passing to you.
Thank you so much, Lorna. Hi, everyone. I'm excited to introduce our next speaker, Shannon Steer. Shannon serves as the Education and Disabilities Manager at Stowe Early Learning in Enfield, where she supports a range of programs, including Head Start. Shannon brings a wealth of experience spanning birth to 3, preschool special education, and kindergarten. We're lucky to have her here with us today. Welcome, Shannon.
Hi, everybody. It's such an honor to be here with everybody on this panel. And it's also an honor to introduce to you AJ's story. I'm going to give you some background of where AJ started to where she is today. AJ attended Stowe in our integrated preschool classroom, which was 5 half days a week. She was extremely successful, did very well. Mom and her teacher, connected through the year. They stayed in communication, but mom needed full day. So because of the uniqueness of our building, the integrated teacher was allowed to introduce the family to our Head Start advocates for the following school year, where Anielle became full-time in the Head Start program. Because of integrated being in the same building as Head Start, the previous teacher and the new teacher were able to make a connection before Anielle even started school. The mom got to meet the new teacher as well. The previous teacher was able to share the strategies that was used in the small group instruction, because now Anielle was going to be in a much larger group with 17 students, and to carry over and to make a successful transition. Anielle had a wonderful year due to connecting before the beginning of the school year. She was able to meet her teacher. She was able to still keep in touch with her previous teacher through the integrated program. She would walk down and say hi to her through the hallway. She was able to go back into her classroom, and that she was able to apply the strategies that she used during her previous school year. Her most successful school year was last year. It was her second year in Head Start. We had a lot of staff turnover. She started the beginning of her school year last year with a teacher who was a sub. Her teacher was on maternity leave. So for a student that has a hard time with transitions, she's a very social person, but just needs that help interacting with peers. She did a wonderful job. When her teacher returned from maternity leave, she had a struggle because she needed to make that connection with the new teacher. Because of the connection she already had with her previous teachers, we all supported each other. We had a lot of challenges. We had to have a lot of hard conversations because what was working in the previous years at school wasn't currently working. Mom was wonderful. She was part of our team. She was always working with us, coming up with new strategies to help Anielle be successful in the classroom. So by working together, having those hard conversations, we made it so that school fit AJ to help her be successful to going into her kindergarten year. I would like to say, as much as we supported and implemented those strategies for Anielle to be successful in the classroom, she 100% helped us as a staff. She really challenged us to find a way to make school successful for Anielle. And she really challenged us in how are we gonna allow Anielle to be successful transitioning into kindergarten. So with that, here is AJ's story.
We put in place, she was with us, a speech therapist, for a little while, and that evolved her speech. There was a lot of different cards and reading and recognizing letters, during that time, with her speech therapist. With her behavioral therapist within the school and the sessions that she was having, there was a lot of activity given, a lot of movement of our body to show how we can get our emotions out in different ways with movement, as well as we put in place a binder that would help her through transitions in the day. So she would have pictures of the different group activities that she was having, or lunch or snack or time to go home. And this would help Anielle be able to go from throughout her day, to help her through each process, to be able to understand what's coming next and really be able to regulate much better. We also implemented, I believe all the staff got this on the at Head Start, was a card of emotions, and this helped during those times of big emotions. It helped Danielle be able to really place how she was feeling and explain it, and really bring herself down, so that they could at home and at school, we could really come to an agreement of what's happening next and really get on the same page. We worked together very closely. We were communicating much of the time, but there was a lot of communication between the teachers and I, and even the principal. Jackie at Head Start had been so pivotal in all the changes that were happening. They would always keep in contact with me and let me know if she was having a hard day, what they were changing. We also had a lot of discussions with Miss Steary in the behavioral health department. That really helped us to be able to understand what was going on at school, and to be able to do the same thing at home to keep it consistent for Anielle. So communication was so pivotal, and it was just excellent amongst me and the staff at Head Start and within the integrated program as well. I do believe that the teachers and staff believed in my daughter. Even in times of, struggle or stress, they really handle themselves well, and it would get overwhelming for me as a parent to know that my daughter is struggling in the time away from me. So they really reassured me that this was going to get better, and that and anytime, even they always, speaking on communication and with belief, and like putting that together with belief in her, even though there was times where they communicated with me with stress and or things that were going on during the day with her that she was struggling with, they always communicated the positive feedback as well. And that really showed me their belief in her. They were always willing to go the extra mile and really celebrated her successes. And that made me feel really great as a parent that they were willing to communicate authentically and also celebrate the positive impact that everything that they were doing was having on my daughter. So the next chapter for Danielle will be kindergarten. I can't believe we're here. Tomorrow is your first day of kindergarten. And we're really excited. We did get a chance to go and see the school. We've seen your teacher and Miss Kusta, who was her preschool teacher for the last half of her last year in pre-K and Head Start, is actually her kindergarten teacher in at Hazardville Memorial. So we're really excited about that. This will be a very positive impact on her. And I know that she was advocated for, and Yale was advocated for by Jackie, the principal at Head Start, the behavioral staff at Head Start, and Ms. Kuster herself. There was a meeting to where Danielle was going to be placed. And thankfully, and I'm so grateful for them that they were, even in their summer, advocating for my daughter to ensure that she had the best transition into kindergarten. That's a huge part of this next chapter, and I know it's a huge part of how successful she's going to be in this transition. Just on the orientation, she sat right in the front. She was showing friends, like, she's never been in the room, and she was showing friends exactly where to go and what to do. And Miss Kusta already implemented a lot of similar strategies within the classroom that assisted Danielle at school at Head Start and at Stowe Early Learning Center. Excuse me one second. And so now in the kindergarten, she'll see familiar strategies to assist her during times that she's having big emotions or dysregulation. It's really exciting. It's really exciting stuff. So I'm just so glad that they always had her on their minds and were willing to advocate for her, and just has made my life as a parent and this journey through getting my oldest through kindergarten much less stressful and just more of an exciting time rather than a worrying time. And I'm just excited for everything that Danielle's going to learn and how she's going to grow, and I'm really excited about it. Why are you proud of yourself?
I'm excited to go to school.
You're excited to go to school?
Yeah, my kindergarten school.
Your kindergarten school?
Yeah, and Miss Hello bring me to the
Anything else that you have to say? So you can say it right from there. You don't have to go.
congratulations.
Congratulations. All right.
I am smiling. Yes, congratulations to you, Aniel. Oh my, oh my. We are so, so, so proud of you. Boy, what a blessing to hear a young person recognize their gains and be proud of themselves. Don't we want that for all of our children? My, oh my. Thank you so, so much, Danielle, for sharing your daughter's story with us. Thank you so much, Shannon, for you being a part of the wonderful outcome of what we saw. And so with that, we want to continue to be able to hear from our children, to hear from our young people. And in doing so, I'm so honored now to introduce Shamika Drummond, who is going to introduce someone who's going to help tell the story all the more. Shamika, we are so glad to have you. You are the legal office supervisor at the Office of Early Childhood, and you do so many other things as well that include walking the talk. Thank you, Shamika, for joining us.
Thank you, Lorna, and thank you so much for having me today. I am so excited to introduce Eileen Ruiz. Eileen Ruiz is a licensing supervisor here at the Office of Early Childhood. She began her career with OEC in 2020 during the pandemic as a licensing specialist, conducting inspections with family and childcare homes. She currently now serves as a childcare licensing supervisor, supporting a team of specialists and overseeing licensing activities across the division. Outside of her work, Eileen is a proud mom who enjoys reading, visiting coffee shops, and spending time with her family. Welcome, Eileen.
Thank you so much, Shamika, for the lovely introduction. I am honored to be your facilitator for today's panel. So, all right, everyone, get ready for your heart to grow a little in size as you witness all those things that are right in early education, as our teacher of the year mentioned, right? There are so many things that we are also doing right. We've got a very special panel of experts joining us today. They are our tiniest voices with the biggest hearts. So let's begin with the panelists from Stowe Early Learning Center. We've got Nolan, Avianne, Luca, and Drew. And joining us from Hope Child Development Center, we have Amaya, Colson, Jason, Taraya, and Ava. These are our smart, strong, and intelligent 3 and 4-year-old panelists. So you might want to take your headphones out and maybe turn up your volume just because some of them are a little shy and others, as you will see, have a lot to say. So just play around with your connections, see what works best, get ready to smile, and maybe even feel a little heartwarming joy. Here come the panelists.
My name is Colson Jackson, and I'm 4 years old. I'm Jason, and I'm 4 years old too. My name is Uriah. I'm 4 years old too. Ava chickens. Who brought that for you? My mom's. Because I like it. You know, my teacher says, why don't I go to school? Everything is so funny. I say this. Why don't I go to school? I'm so silly. I'm a bully my head. Yeah. I like coming to school. Yeah. Yeah, I do too. Yeah. 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 It's good. I like learning my letters and my numbers and my colors. I want to sit down. I know everything all by myself. I can do everything by myself. Play with toys.
What else?
I want to celebrate with I want to celebrate with you, and with you. Mommy and Daddy and Abby. Alphabets. also letters. And also being a hero. And I like being a hero. Colvin, do you mean right there? No. I like being this hero. But I like being this pink hero. Because it's so nice. And I like to do like everything, but I like going to school like more. Letters, and I learn a lot about letters. And then we play outside. And teachers, I love to do ABCs, remember, watch tablet, like games, but I also watch YouTube, and I always watch YouTube Kids too. I love doing everything by myself. I don't need any help from my mommy or daddy. I don't need any help at all. Cause I don't like getting help. I like doing it all by myself. I like doing it all by myself because I'm a big girl. God loves me in my heart, and He loves me too. I love God, and I love God so much. Take a deep breath. Help my mom be happy. I feel giving people a hug. And I take deep breath. I was feeling angry because I was sad. I was crying. I feel sad because I wasn't going to stop, and now I don't cry, and I feel angry because everybody be mean, and I do that to everybody because they're being mean. I always feel sad sometimes because I always do. Because I always want to do my stuff. I'm happy. Take a deep breath. It helps you feel better. Play in the snow and after it's Christmas time. Then he said ABC, and I play and I put away my stuff, but I always say no, 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 and now I say yes. My teachers and my teachers always help me to learn. And that makes me feel much more better sometimes. Like the letters. My teacher teach me colors, letters, and numbers at the same time. I like doing my letters and colors and numbers. It helps me learn everything. I love doing that. I want to fix cars. I like to clean school. Fire. Work with Mom. Her semester listens to her workers and to teachers, and Mommy works with teachers all day. I want to drive and work like Daddy and work like a Mommy. And drive like Daddy. Just do like Daddy. Wake up and turn up the light. He always does that. I want to be a fixer because when a house is broken, I will fix the people's houses because I know that I'm a great builder and I build a big house for everybody, the whole family. I want to be a teacher just like my mommy. And I like you and I want to cook just like my daddy too. I wish I could do that when I was growing up. I did. Mommy, bring my sweater for hot. Outside. Maybe a playground.
About what keeps me grounded, it really comes back to recognizing how as the adult we are feeling in the moment in our reactions so that we're able to best respond in ways that we know are going to be helpful and productive in those situations. I think it's about trusting in my teammates and my colleagues around me to alert each other to any feelings they may be having and tapping out or tapping in to make sure that we're at our best because ultimately we're here for kiddos and doing what's right by them.
Just knowing and coming to work and seeing those beautiful little faces every day keeps me grounded. I know sometimes things can be very difficult. We all have lives before we get into school. It's very important to show patience and understanding. Take the time to listen to the children and to be able to respond in a positive way. And always keep in mind that children feed off of your emotions, and if you are upset, they become upset. So it's fundamental, especially in the field of early childhood education and being in a daycare setting, that we always model positive behavior and always let the children know that they are welcome and loved every single day.
Wow. So I don't know about you, but I'm smiling. And that brings us to the end of our wonderful panelists. So we closed by hearing from the heart of our programs, right? Our incredible teachers and staff. And we heard about what keeps them grounded, whether it's tapping in with patience, tapping out with understanding, or simply just taking that deep breath, right? Just like the children reminded us. These small, powerful moments help us stay present, connected, and compassionate. So it's all about listening, responding, and breathing together. And as our teacher of the year, Julia, shared, the strongest classrooms are built on a foundation of both high support and high accountability. Shannon echoed this by reminding us that a strong program is one where we work with our students, not to them or around them. And as Amanda emphasized, having layers of support that are equitable and meaningful allow us to intentionally impact our students. So that is how we move from simply managing behaviors to truly transforming the lives of littles everywhere. Thank you for being part of this space today, and let's carry that calm with us as we move forward.
Eileen, boy, what a way to sum up the wonderful words from our children. My, oh my. And to our panelists, to our wonderful children. Oh my goodness. Nolan, Aviani, Luca, Drew, Amaya, Colson, Jason, Taraya, Ava. Oh my. And then the wonderful words from Ms. Valley and Ms. Lamberti. We are so appreciative to what you had to share with us. But there are so many others we want to recognize and express appreciation to as well. Certainly want to thank Diana Reyes. Thank you very much for giving instructions on how to access interpretation. Paola and Victoria from NWI, thank you so much for providing interpretations. Certainly to our Commissioner, Beth Bai, we always appreciate you. We always appreciate your words of wisdom and your support, no matter what setting you may be in. Thank you so very much for all that you are doing and you will continue to do in supporting our young children. And boy, in terms of inspiring and empowering words, thank you, Julia Miller and Amanda Pickett, for feeding us something for our souls and our minds and giving us some instructions on how to continue walking forward. Thank you so very much. To wonderful teammate Karen Pascal, thank you so much for introducing Shannon. Karen, you are a wonderful teammate. And Shannon, thank you for helping to tell AJ's story and being part of the wonderful outcome that we saw. Thank you so much, Shannon Steer. And we, of course, want to thank Anielle, also known as AJ, and her mother, Danielle, for sharing their story with us. And Anielle, we are so proud of you for starting in kindergarten. Excellent job. Shamika, thank you so much for introducing our facilitator of the panel discussion. You are a wonderful teammate, Shamika. Thank you. And once again, Eileen, boy, oh boy, you introduced our panelists well and you wrapped it up well also. Thank you for your leadership with passion. And I must once again name our wonderful panelists. These are children, but talk about the wisdom they have and they have taught us. Want to once again from the Stowe Early Learning Center and Hope Child Development Center. Want to thank Nolan, Aviani, Luca, Drew, Amaya, Colson, Jason, Taraya, and Ava. And also to the directors at those locations, Ms. Valley and Ms. Lamberti, thank you for sharing your wonderful words of wisdom. And we must recognize that Stowe Early Learning Center and Hope Child Development Center is doing a wonderful job under the leadership of Jacqueline Valley and Georgia Goldburn. Thank you so very much for all that you do. And of course, we have to thank our teammates behind the scenes. Thank you, Eloisa, for just managing all things Zoom and helping to keep us all connected in that and so many other ways. Thank you, Team O'Donnell, and thank you, UConn School of Social Work Innovations Institute, for all that you do to help tell this story and to help get feedback from others. And that segues us into feedback. Following this webinar, you will receive a link to a survey. We want to hear from you. We want to hear your thoughts on what we can do to improve or what we may need to do differently. So your feedback is so very important. And of course, last but not least at all, have to thank all of you, whether you are viewing this live or you're watching a recording. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to hear messages of how we can inspire our children and how we can do so by walking what we talk to them. Our children are watching, our children are learning, and our children are mighty. We thank you so much for all that you do to help empower them. And with that, we shall pause for now. And until we come together again, thank you all for all that you do, and please be well.